Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and for our first video today we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, then we'll have a look at the weather warnings and the various short range high resolution computer models at the wintry conditions that we have going on at the current moment and over the next sort of 24 to 48 hours. I do want to make a quite concise video on this, as there's a lot to talk about in regards to this over the next 48 hours, and of course having a look at the longer range forecast. There's some very interesting charts starting to appear for next week and generally the second half of January, so I want to do quite an in-depth video on that this afternoon. It's all too much really to put in one single video. So for the first video we're going to really be concentrating on the wintry conditions, and as you can see we do have some quite heavy snowfall going on at the moment. So remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow on Twitter as well, the link's in the description, and also check out the channel membership, of course, with exclusive perks alongside with that. So we do have a look at the live radar at the moment. This is the live radar as of around 1 PM, and you can see there is a lot of mixed precipitation around. Heavy frontal system has moved through, and we've seen a lot of heavy snow over the tops of the mountains and even to sort of moderate hills and low-lying areas. And one thing I do want to say with the radar is that it's not entirely accurate in terms of whether it's snow or rain. Some of these greens will be of wintry of nature. Where it's showing rain, there will be some snow, some sleet mixing with this, and some of the blues where it's showing heavy snowfall. Some of this, of course, will be rain as well. Of course, it is very difficult in these marginal situations to get it exactly right, but these are the rough sort of boundaries we're seeing at the moment. Now, ahead of this weather front, across many parts of the East Midlands, East Anglia into the southeast, it still is really quite cold. We woke up to around couple of degrees below freezing this morning, really chilly out there, and on this leading edge, even to low-lying areas, we could see some snowflakes for a time if you haven't seen this weather front move through already. Now, it has cleared through most of Scotland. There still is a bit of precipitation around as the weather front is moving out into the North Sea, and it has dropped quite a bit of snow. Across the far southwest, parts of South Wales now is turning back to rain with a milder wedge of air. You can see this milder wedge, it's ahead of these showers and behind the weather front. That's where the milder wedge of air is. Temperature's getting up to around 6 or 7 degrees. But once that moves through, behind these initial showers, we do have a really quite cold polar maritime air mass, and that's going to be turning things back to snow over the course of this afternoon into the evening. And overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, there could be some significant snow around from convection, especially across northern and western areas. And we're also seeing hints in the far south and southwest. There could be some more enhanced precipitation, which could fall as snow over the next 24 hours. So we'll have a look at that as well in the video. Now, one thing I do want to do is wind it back a little bit, a couple hours, and if we do bring it back a little bit, you can see the heavy snow we did see across many parts of northern England and Scotland, and as we saw with the live radar, it is now moving into the North Sea, but most of the precipitation was falling as snow on its eastern edge, and some areas have got decent covering. However, I'm sure the rain will be trying to wash it away over the course of the day before more snow is coming back this evening, and it's going to be this big mix of conditions, which is going to be the difficulty with forecasting this, as a lot of areas will have seen snow this morning, then it will turn to rain, and then potentially back to snow for this evening. So quite a big mix of conditions. If we do have a look at temperatures as well, important to see where the current sort of colder conditions are. You can see still cold on the eastern edge, but in the far east of Ireland, Northern Ireland, parts of Wales and the southwest, you can see these more yellowy colours. That's temperatures getting up to around 7, 8, 9 degrees. However, behind it, temperatures will be dropping away very quickly as the cold front moves back through with more polar maritime air mass and showers. Now, something else we also should have a look at is having a look at what we're going to be seeing with the past 24-hour snowfall. Now, of course, this isn't 100% accurate because it is radar estimates, of course, not what we're actually seeing on the ground, of course, because some of this would have been washed away. But this is the current radar estimates for the extent of the snowfall so far, where we've seen snowfall out of the sky. So most of Scotland, northern England, and parts of northwest England, the West Midlands, into most of Wales as well, has seen some snow over the course of this morning, and we've seen a bit over Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well. And I do suspect most of these areas will be seeing more wintry conditions over the course of this evening, as we do see more precipitation move in the form of wintry showers, and those could even produce more snowfall, because they're going to be very heavy and intense locally. And as we'll see with the warnings in a minute, the Met Office are even suggesting we could be seeing some thunder snow with this as well across parts of Northern Ireland and Western Scotland. So if we do now have a look at these weather warnings, now we still have the snow and ice warning in force that's been in force for a couple of days now. It hasn't been updated. Well, it was updated earlier this morning, but it was just changed to basically warning now assessed as very low likelihood of medium impacts for Scotland and Northern Ireland, with a separate low impact warning issued for Northern Ireland. So just splitting up the warnings to change sort of time frames and stuff. So no actual update on the severity of it or what's going to be happening really. So we do have a look at further details again. 100 to 200 metres, which is not crazy for many areas in the north and the west. 2 to 5 centimetres, and locally 5 to 10 centimetres above 200 metres. So moderate hills could be seeing a decent covering, and as much as 15 centimetres over the highest ground. Falling snow below this level may cause some temporary slushy accumulations, so even to sea level and low-lying areas, slushy accumulations, and this of course could freeze over the course of the evening as temperatures do plummet away once again, where skies remain clear enough, and winds will be gusty around heavier showers, and there also is a risk of lightning strikes from isolated thunderstorms in some coastal districts. So thunder snow is potentially going to be coming as well, and I know some people have commented about that, but there is a real potential, and we've got to keep an eye on that over the next 24 hours. Now we also have a just general snow warning from 10 a.m. today until 4 p.m, and that's because of this weather front we've seen move through. Again, we're seeing more widespread snow than this, but this is where it's more likely to cause significant impacts, because it's going to be hanging around for a little bit longer, and will be accumulating more as the majority of the precipitation will be snow. And you can see many places will see 1 to 2 hours of snow, and that's what we're seeing with the live radar at the moment. Temperature slushy accumulations above 100 to 150 metres with snow leading to difficult travel conditions. Longer period of snow is expected above 2 to 300 metres with 2 to 5 centimetres, and 10 to 15 centimetres above 400 metres, of course. Drifting and temporary blizzard conditions is possible with this. And of course we have another yellow warning for snow across parts of Northern Ireland, 8 p.m. tonight until 11 a.m. tomorrow. Frequent sleet, hail and snow showers may lead to some disruption, and of course small chance of lightning strikes from isolated thunderstorms in the northwest, and similar sort of conditions to what we saw with the other snow and ice warning for Scotland and Northern England, with snow potentially even down to 100 metres quite widely, 200 metres for 2 to 4 centimetres, and maybe 5 to 10 centimetres above that. So some significant conditions are potentially coming around with this, and it's something, if you are in these areas, keep an eye out for this, because some areas will not be significantly impacted by these showers, but where they do band up, there could be significant localised accumulations from these sort of conditions. And of course, those snow and ice warnings are still in force into tomorrow. Now, if we do have a look at the UK Met Office run, have a look at precipitation, and we'll have a look at temperature with this, and then we'll have a look at two other runs, the Icon and the ARPEGE, at precipitation as well. Now, if we do run through the precipitation, you can see, this is from 3 o'clock this morning, so it shows you the snowfall that's from this morning. You can see the snow is a little bit more widespread than this is showing, but once again, it's difficult to believe the live radar exactly, but just from what it's showing, maybe a little bit more widespread than this, so hanging on to that colder air potentially a little bit longer than the model was anticipated. But as that moves through, majority of the precipitation does move to rain over the course of this afternoon, with some snow over the highest ground of Scotland, and then those heavier showers starting to move in by around sort of maybe 8, 9 p.m. across parts of Northern Ireland, then they really get going across parts of Western England, Northwest England, Wales, western parts of Scotland over early hours of the morning. Real heavy showers, and that's where we could see some thunder snow as well. You couldn't even rule out parts of the southwest. I know there are some viewers down in the southwest. You couldn't even rule out a few wintry showers over the higher ground there. And there's something we need to keep an eye on. You see this little feature that's moving through southern parts of Ireland. I've seen a few people talk about this in the last sort of day or two. Didn't feature in the video yesterday because there was a lot of uncertainty with it, but it has sort of firmed up within the models that it's going to be moving along this track. And it all depends on how it interacts with the colder air, whether we do see snowfall within it. Shows some snow across parts of southern Ireland. Could see some significant accumulations potentially over higher ground, as it would be a persistent area of snow for a good few hours, and heavy with that. You can see quite bright colours within it. And it does move through parts of the southwest, southern Wales, and it does look like there could be some heavy snow, quite big accumulations over higher ground in the southwest. To low-lying areas, very uncertain. Could be some snowflakes, could be some heavy snow, or it could just be rain. It's one of these scenarios where it's a nowcast scenario. We don't really know exactly what it's going to be until it's falling out the sky and we actually hear snow reports. It will move through the south coast. How far inland it comes is a bit uncertain, but also seeing potentially maybe another feature of enhanced showers as well across the parts of the northwest that then move further southwards, and we're seeing these showers through the course of Friday afternoon, potentially falling wintry across parts of the Midlands, even into the far southeast. Again, I wouldn't believe exactly the precipitation type on this, whether it's snow or rain, because things can change drastically over the course of evaporative cooling and things like that can change precipitation and temperatures values in local regions very quickly. Beyond that, though, things generally turn a little bit milder through the weekend. Again, some leading edge snow, but we've got quite a big milder sector within that. So things will be rain over the course of Saturday afternoon. Before in the evening, we see some more wintriness move back in, but not hanging around for too long and not being too significant. Maybe a few areas for more precipitation move through. And we'll probably have a look at this in more detail in the video this evening. Now, if we have a look at max temperatures, again, you can see really cold this morning. If we do run through this quite quickly, you can see temperatures today are still chilly in the north and the east, 4 or 5 degree max temperatures, but as that mild sector moves through, could get up to 6 or 7, peaking around maybe 8, 9 p.m. in the far south. Over the course of tonight, though, temperatures will drop rates widely between freezing 1, 2 degrees for many areas in sort of central areas, southern areas, maybe in the far north, Scotland over higher ground getting below freezing, but because we've got a lot more cloud around and these showers around, it's going to hold those temperatures up a little bit, so less of a widespread frost, but there still could be a localised frost here or there. But these temperatures are cold enough for snow to fall, even though they're not below freezing, as that freezing layer is actually only around 300 or 400 metres. That's where the 0 degree line is within the atmosphere. So yeah, quite a low freezing level, so anywhere really could be seeing some wintry precipitation. Beyond that, through early hours of Friday, you can see that little area of precipitation moving through this far southwest. You can see temperatures dropping really low locally, around freezing on 1 degree, and then very close by 6 or 7 degrees, and that is evaporative cooling, where we see heavy precipitation keeping the temperatures down, and that's why I say there could be some localised heavy snow within that system, but it's very difficult to say, and again, it's a nowcast situation. Beyond that, temperatures are still really quite cold, and of course Friday evening, widespread frost once again in the north and east, but as a weather front moves through Saturday, actually by the time most people wake up, temperatures will be above freezing, and that frost will be thawing before sunrise. So would be a frost around Saturday night, but most areas will not be really seeing that in the day. Beyond that, Saturday is pretty decent, temperature-wise, around 7, 8, 9 degrees in the far south, maybe still quite cold in the north, and another maybe quite cold night before Sunday. Temperatures still around 5, 6, 7 degrees before rising significantly through Monday, as we see milder sectors pull in. But of course, I'll be covering this in a lot more detail in this afternoon's video. Have a look at the longer range forecast. So if you have a look at the icon, what's that showing? Just to get a bit of cross-model consensus. Of course, I would favour the UKMO run to being a bit more accurate, but we'll have a look at the icon as well. You can see the heavier precipitation moving in. You can see maybe a little bit more accurate with its snow, or precipitation type, let's just say. But once again, the icon run is a little bit like the GFS, where it can sometimes overdo the snow. So I think in this scenario, maybe it just luckily got this widespread snow a bit more correct. Snow showers packing in from the west this evening, and you see that feature moving through the far southwest, showing snow over the higher ground, but not exclusively, I don't think. I definitely think there will be some to low-lying areas potentially through tomorrow. Just all depends on how cold that air is. Again, there can be, at this range, there can be a degree or two difference, and that makes all the difference with snow If it's 3 or 4 degrees, more likely to be cold rain, bit of sleet. If it's 1 or 2 degrees, snow. And we can't exactly say what it's going to be because it is quite a marginal scenario. So I think definitely if you are in the southwest or far south of England, below the sort of the M4, there is highly likely chance you see some heavier precipitation through early hours of Friday through Friday afternoon. What falls out of the sky, it's too difficult to say at this stage, but could be wintry of nature, especially over higher ground. Even to low-lying areas inland, I definitely think there is a relatively high chance there is some wintriness, but accumulation is too difficult to say, really. Beyond that, though, we see more precipitation push in, snow again over higher ground, but then nothing too significant. A few showers around before things turn generally a little bit milder. Now, if we do have a look at the ARPEGE run, which many say would be very accurate with snow, but I sometimes think is a little bit pessimistic. Because, for example, over the course of this morning, we're seeing a little bit more widespread snow than this is showing. But, again, it all depends on the Pacific run. Some runs do well in some scenarios, some don't do as well. And if we run through it, over the course of this evening, you can see more showers turning wintry, and I do expect these to be a lot more wintry of nature than the ARPEGE is showing, not only because the other models are showing more snow, but Met Office have got warnings out for 5-10 centimetres of snow, even to moderate hills, and that's not what the ARPEGE is showing. So I definitely do think the ARPEGE is being very pessimistic for snow. So we'll of course have to see how it does go. And you can see early hours of Friday, a bit more enhanced precipitation across parts of the southwest, parts of South Wales, a bit further north there, so could be seeing more snow for parts of central southern England and parts of South Wales. So yeah, I have to see how that does play out before things turn a little bit milder in from the west. So yeah, very interesting seeing what the models are showing. A little bit disagreement with that, but of course it is a very marginal scenario. But a lot of areas in the north and west could be seeing a lot of wintriness around. Significant accumulations, again, will be most likely over higher ground. But you couldn't rule out low-lying areas where we see sort of a train of showers. And, of course, the areas in the southwest potentially could be seeing some wintry conditions around as well. I know some people in sort of central England, eastern England will be a little bit disappointed, but some of the models are showing a few showers getting in around central England, maybe eastern England as well. But if you are in central England and eastern England, you might want to stay tuned for the video this evening where we're having a look at the potential for things turning colder once again in the second half of January. We're seeing some really interesting runs from especially the GFS, which some may say is a bit inaccurate and maybe overblowing it at this stage. But there are some very cold runs starting to appear for the second half of January, and it's something that we'll go into depth in the video this evening. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.